Good morning, and thank you for joining us for the third week of the 2025 Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference Weekly Football Coaches Video Conference presented by Wells Fargo. I am Elise Scripter, Director of Strategic Communications for the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, and I will serve as moderator of today's question and answer session. Before we begin, I would like to go over today's procedures. The conference will begin by asking each head coach questions about the previous matchups and the upcoming games before opening the call to questions from the media. For this week's session, media representatives will be limited to one question per coach, with additional opportunities provided as time permits. To ask a question, simply click the raise hand feature and remain muted until you've been introduced. Serving as host for today's call will be Lynn Thompson, Strategic Advisor for the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. Lynn, thank you for joining us this morning, and without further ado, over to you.
Thank you so much, Elise, and good morning. Welcome, coaches and media, to our weekly look into MEAC football. This morning, we'll recap week 2 of the 2025 football season with our head coaches, and we'll also get a sneak peek ahead at this week's matchups as we continue our out-of-conference play. First up today is the head coach of the Howard University Bison, Larry Scott. Good morning to you, Coach Scott.
Good morning, Lynn. How's everybody doing?
Doing good this morning, Coach. And this past Saturday, you faced a very tough Temple squad, falling 55-7 in the out-of-conference matchup. You had a couple of days to review video and to reflect. After taking a look at the performance of the team, how would you evaluate it against the Owls?
Obviously, a very rough outing for us this week. I thought, we came out with some good energy. As you reflect, like you kind of said, and we go back to the week of preparation, I think we spent way too much time kind of in a fog, getting back at, 4 o'clock in the morning from the Miami game down against FAMU. And I think we just didn't snap back to it quick enough. I think it was about in the middle of the week to end of the week where we finally started locking in and having the type of practices that we wanted. So I felt like the week of preparation was a little slow. And therefore kind of reflected in some of the way that we came out in that game. And so, obviously disappointed in the outcome, but a lot comes from that experience, a lot about the routine of preparation, and a lot about some things that were exposed in the play that we can definitely improve upon to get better. The biggest piece, though, Lynn, is just our preparation and ability to snap back as quick as we need to get back to the drawing board each and every week. So a lot of learning experience to draw from right there. But obviously the results are not what we want. So now is just put that one behind us and keep moving and keep our eyes forward.
As you prepare for this week's matchup against Morehouse, you're going back up to the New York City Football Classic. What adjustments will you have to make? And most importantly, how will the Bison really forget about what happened this past Saturday and look ahead to this matchup against Morehouse?
Just that we went back to work yesterday right away, kind of watched the film and pulled from it what we needed to do to improve as far as that goes. But it's the biggest piece for us right now is about refining our week. Obviously, we're in a unique situation with class schedules and all of those type of things. So refining our schedule, being very unique in our preparation and how we proceed and getting ready each and every week and refining that. So without, you take from that what you need to, and then you focus on the things that we need to do to improve as a football team. It's not as much about our next opponent or who we play this week. I think the gravity of that and the two brands coming together in New York City will speak for itself. And in that regard, our concern is going up here and playing better football, much improved football. And the way that we do that is attacking the day-by-day process leading up into that game and staying focused on what it is. It's still a football game, and we need to go play our best football.
Big-time football in the Big Apple, Coach. Thanks so much. Hold on. Elise is going to take it from here with the media.
All right. Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you, Lynn. As a reminder to the media, please use the raise hand feature and remain muted until you're introduced. Also, please limit your questions to one question for Coach Scott. Our first questions for Coach Scott comes from James Hill.
Good morning, Coach. I hope you and everybody in Washington are well. When you think about Howard University football, talk about the opportunity to change a young man's life. He gets an education. He plays football at a high level. I remember years ago covering a basketball game, and I was sitting next to a coach from, I'll just say it, from Notre Dame. And he talked about how this recruit, they could change this young man's life if he decided to go in that direction. But talk about Howard and the Mecca and why this can be a beautiful thing. And it's proven to be a beautiful thing for young student athletes over the years.
Yeah, I mean, the brand speaks for itself. Obviously, it's synonymous with excellence in a lot of regards. And that's the thing that makes Howard really special. There's not one thing that you have to kind of pigeonhole yourself into, whether it's law, whether it's the school of business, whether it's the school, of medicine, whether it's just, you come here for, sports and entertainment, academic, you can do whatever you want to here. And you don't have to feel pigeonholed to do anything that you want to do. And that's the great thing about it, I think, is you put yourself into an environment like this as young Black people. That's the one thing you don't want to feel is hampered. And coming to a place like this, you don't want to feel that. You want to feel like whatever it is that I choose to do and commit myself to, I can do. And Howard gives you that opportunity. So it's the same thing for regards to our athletes. But that gets a chance to excel at both. And that's what gives you a unique situation, Division I football program or basketball program or softball program or track program. And you get in top tier world-class education. So the combination of both obviously gives you a chance to, be successful at whatever you choose to be successful. And if you can complete the rigors of what the challenge is going to be presented to you by Howard, you'll be ready. You'll be ready for whatever it is that life's going to throw you. So it's a great place to have both and not feel pigeonholed and be able to do things at a high level in anything you choose to do.
Thank you, Coach. Have a blessed week. Good luck against Morehouse.
Thank you.
Our next question for Coach Scott comes from Dwayne Nash.
Good morning, Coach. Dwayne Nash from the Yard, HBCU Sports and Hero Sports. How are you this morning?
Dwayne, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. You just said a little bit earlier that, games like this is more of a learning experience for you guys. How do you make sure that this type of loss doesn't hurt the confidence of your quarterback who doesn't happen to have a lot of experience on the collegiate level?
Dwayne, that's a good question. I would hope that we've done a good job here of helping guys and people understand process, right? And just because you have one bad outing doesn't mean that it's the predictor of what will come with the next one. It's about gradual and weekly improvement. Obviously, it's about diagnosis, right? We're going to take a look at what we need to improve, and those are the things that we're going to attack as we continue to move forward. So it's about keeping your eyes forward. You quickly reflect on the things that you need to address and fix, and you keep pressing forward. One game, one bad outing, one bad test grade, all of those things don't predict the future. And it's about teaching young men the process of going through the ups and downs, the ebb and flows of not just sports, but life in general. So at the end of the day, I would hope that we're teaching them to be a little bit more resilient and persevere a little bit more than that, to feel like, because of the results of one game, that's the predictor of what's going to happen in the next one and on into the future. So that's not just a football lesson, that's a life lesson. And that's what we try to do around here, is make sure that some of the things that we're teaching and talking about are applicable to not just the game, but to them as they move forward in life, as they choose to, be husbands, be fathers, and all of those different things. So hopefully that's something that's a life lesson that will carry on far beyond just football.
Thanks so much, Coach. Good luck in New Jersey this week.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Dwayne.
Our next question for Coach Scott comes from Wayne Cartwright.
Hey, Coach Scott, Wayne Cartwright, the Ride with Wild Wayne Cartwright. So you guys have scored just 17 points on this season in 2 games. Starting this week against Morehouse, what are some of the things in specific that you guys need to do to get that offense rolling?
Execute, simply. Block, tackle, catch, protect, strain on blocks, finish blocks. Can't have some of the mental assignments that we're having with our youth, and keep pushing and developing our youth to start peaking and playing football at the right time. So it's just about the gradual process of eliminating those mistakes and executing kind of routine things routinely and doing it at a high level. So at the end of the day, that's all that it is. It's just to keep putting one foot in front of the other, keep attacking what you need to improve on, and keep getting better. We played against 2 pretty good football teams too as well. It's not like, we're going out and we're playing against guys that don't have good schemes or not well coached and not well disciplined, to play a top FCS team in FAMU down in Miami, who's known to be, pretty stiff on defense and do a good job there. And then the scheme we just faced is as multiple and as as good and well schemed and disciplined as we're probably going to see all year with the NFL acumen and those type of things that scheme came with. It was a lot thrown at a young group that a lot to learn from. And so, we take from it the experience that we want. We take all the good stuff out of it. And make sure we're teaching our young men what they need to do to learn and progress through this thing. So I'm excited about what we were able to take from that, to learn from, to keep the interest high, and to keep these guys engaged at a level in which they understand the sense of urgency that we have to get better at. And that started yesterday in yesterday's practice.
All right. Thanks, Coach. Good luck this week against Morehouse.
Thank you.
And our next question for Coach Scott comes from Nathaniel Henry Jr.
Good morning, Coach. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, Nate. How are you?
Great. Nathaniel Henry, Howard Sports Media. Coach, Morehouse, it's a game that has drew over 35,000 people over the last several years. What does it mean to play Morehouse College in MetLife Stadium?
No, it's obviously it's big for the culture, right? You got two powerful brands, academic brands, cultural brands, everything that brings greatness and excellence together in those two names collide in New York City. And so to play in another NFL venue for us, this will be our third NFL venue in a row. So the experience for the young men are continuing to grow and expand. And to have these two brands in New York City, we've seen what that looks like before in the past 2 years that we've been there. So definitely exciting to actually go into an NFL venue that's not completely empty. It's a good environment. It's charged. It's got a lot of energy, and who's who sometimes are in the stadium and all those type of things. But our focus will be on playing good football. The brands and the experience for everyone will take care of itself. But our object is to get better and go and play the best football that we can this week, no matter who the opponent is.
Yes, sir. What are the challenges that you feel that you face against a team like Morehouse?
It's not about Morehouse. The challenge is us. The challenge is taking what we drew from the tape and where we are and making the necessary improvements, both on the field and off the field, to our approach, our mental mindset, the level in which and the standard of which we want to play. And until we get in that and getting that with a high level of consistency, it will continue to be about just that and that period, not the opponent.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Our next question for Coach Scott comes from Daryl Duvall. As a reminder to media, please keep your questions to one for each coach.
Good morning, Coach. I just got one little question for you. You all have been playing a hard schedule. What lessons from playing on an FBS program do you think will sharpen your team for MEAC competition?
That it doesn't matter about, the team or what have you. If we don't execute things at a high level, it doesn't matter against who. You're not going to give yourself a chance, right? And football is a game of momentum. Obviously, we fell down pretty quickly, and then, kind of fought back in there and got ourselves a score and made it a 21-7 ball game. Had a situation where, we had a sack, had them backed up 3rd and 19, and let them out of there with a chance to get the ball back and kind of catch a wave of some momentum. And with it being such a game of momentum in a game like that against an opponent like that, is critical that you're able to capitalize on those situations, and we didn't. All right, we allowed them to convert. That conversion led to another score, so they were able to keep and regain the momentum, and it kind of rolled, for them momentum-wise after that at home in that environment. So we didn't take advantage of maybe the one time it was for us to kind of catch on to something and ride it after we had a score, and then we were doing really good the next possession. Again, had them pent back behind the sticks and then allowed them to convert on a 3rd and 18 or 19 to stay on the field, which led to another score. So they were to kind of recapture the momentum there. I thought maybe we could have caught something, and we didn't. So we go back and we teach from that. Right, we teach about capitalizing on momentum. The level of execution that it takes in any football game, let alone when you're playing against an opponent like that in their home space. So there's so many things to learn from that game that if you can sit and sulk on the fact that the result was what it was, or you can take the positives and take what you need to take from it and put together a plan and go attack it. And that's exactly what we did yesterday morning. So, we just got to make sure we continue that way and keep our eyes forward on the future and what's coming in front of us.
Well, thank you, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
And our next question for Coach Scott comes from Dr. Kenyatta Cavill.
Thank you, Elise. This is Kenyatta Cavill, Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Good morning, Coach Scott.
Good morning, Doc. How you doing?
Doing well. I wanted to ask you a question that if you would allow us to go in terms of your teaching in terms of after a game. Obviously, you had 2 series where you had a punt. The first one you did get a first down, but on your third drive, starting the first quarter, going into second quarter, you got where you scored a touchdown. You had 13 plays, 75 yards. How do you utilize what you were able to do successful on that, where you mixed in some run, pass, intermediate, some mid-level passes where you got into first downs? How do you take that back in terms of looking at what you did successful in this matchup and utilize that as a teachable moment in terms of breaking down films for the rest of the season?
Doc, you my guy. That's why you got those 2 letters in front of your name, Doctor. Yeah, Cavill, right? I appreciate you, man. I think that's exactly that, right? You have to, as a leader, as you know, the person who's going to kind of help set the trajectory of what it is that we need to do moving forward. You have to go back and insinuate the positives, right? You have to go back and say, hey, this is what it looks like, and this is what you're capable of when we're playing football at a high level and executing. And you have to show them images of that. This young generation is such an image drawn, culture. They have to see things as though they are, and they're kind of a do as not the whole do as I say. They want to do as what it looks like and what you show me and model. So to go back and show them that series and that drive, and go back and show them series and drives on defense where when we executed and guys were where they were supposed to be and we tackled and we ran in the ball and we did those things. This is the type of football we're capable of playing. Although it may be a small sample size, that is what you have to focus on. Is what it looks like. And so, yeah, you go back, you show them that series. Hey, we were 4 for 4 on third down during that series. We were able to stay on the field, maintain drives. We were blocking, we were catching, we were executing blitz pickup. We were, running our routes at the right depth. We were throwing and catching. We were doing all the basic things you got to do at football really well, no matter who the opponent is. And when it looks like this, this is what's going to give us a chance. And then you can adversely of that, you got to go back and show them what it doesn't look like. And so here, same call, same play. Did we execute? No. And then you can see the differences why, and they can have that aha moment, in their head and understand that, hey, the sense of urgency that we talk about in practice and the way that you have to execute in practice and the tempo and urgency you have to have in practice is what builds this. So you have to find the positives, insinuate the positives, show them what it looks like and show them the results that they can have when they do it all right. So that is definitely something that we focused on.
Appreciate it, Coach Scott, and the acknowledgement as well. I'm working at my craft.
Thank you.
Good luck this week.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Cavill. That concludes all of our questions for Coach Scott at this time. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Howard takes on Morehouse on Saturday, September 13th at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Kickoff is set for 1 p.m., broadcasting on HBCU Go. Lynn, over to you for our next interview.
Thanks a lot, Elise. Let's check in now. Durham, North Carolina. Good morning, Coach Trei Oliver. How are you today?
I'm well, Lynn. How are you doing?
Doing good. Coach, last week you spoke about ODU and how tough they played Indiana. And you hit the road to go play them. And Eagles fall 54-6 on the road. Let's talk about it. It was a tough one, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a tough game. Didn't end like I envisioned it, but I thought we got off to a decent start. Defense came out and we held them 2 consecutive drives. And offensively, I thought we moved the ball well in the first half. We just struggled putting the ball in the end zone. And whenever you play up, my mindset is to be aggressive, and we want to try to score touchdowns. So it was 2 4th downs early, 4th and 1 and 4th and 2 that we decided to go for, and they held us. So going into halftime was 16-3. We probably could have been going in 16-9. But again, I wanted to go and play football and be aggressive with these people. Came on the second half and kind of got away from us a little bit. Gave away too many explosive plays in the second half and some costly penalties and some costly turnovers. So obviously, came up on the short end of the stick. But that was a very good Old Dominion team. And, we're looking to shake back this week against a dangerous Fayetteville State team.
Let's talk about that, Coach. You're going to be home as the Fayetteville comes calling. What's going to be your area of focus to your ball club about overcoming what happened on the road and preparing now for what's to come at home?
Right. Well, we talk about, limited. You have a chance to beat those larger schools, FBS schools. You have to limit your mistakes, and we talked about it all week coming into the game, and I didn't think we did a good job doing that. So, some things that we need to clean up on our end. Take care of what we can take care of, and it's all about Central. Obviously, we're back home in the nest, and usually we play, pretty good football here in Durham. So we're excited to be back in front of our home fans, and like I said, it's going to be a dangerous, very dangerous Fayetteville State team coming in here.
Okay, Coach, hold on just for a few. We got media lined up, and Elise will take you through that.
Thank you, Lynn. As a reminder to our media, please use the raise hand feature and remain muted until you've been introduced. Also, please limit your question for Coach Oliver to one. Our first question for Coach Oliver comes from Wayne Cartwright.
Hey, Coach Oliver, Wayne Cartwright, the Ride with Wild Wayne Cartwright. You talk about Fayetteville State as a dangerous team. So what are some of the things that you're looking for from your offense to get back on track this week against that dangerous team?
Well, I think we have to be efficient, and I think that we moved the ball against ODU, but penalties, costly penalties, killed us. We had the ball third and goal from the 1, and then we get pushed back and have to settle for a field goal. Just little things like that we must get cleaned up, and I think that we have to be more consistent. I think our quarterback play has been adequate, but for you to get in a rhythm, it has to be a level of consistency across the board with protection, the receivers with their routes, drops, and all of that stuff. So I've seen us, progress throughout the season, and I think that we'll get better as the weeks come. But this week, I want to see us be more consistent and efficient offense.
All right. Thanks, Coach. Good luck against Fayetteville State this week.
Yeah, thank you.
Our next question for Coach Scott comes from Dr. Kenyatta Cavill.
Kenyatta Cavill, Dr. Cavill, inside the HBCU Sports Lab.
What's up, Doc?
I'm doing well. How's it going, Coach Oliver?
I'm well. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I want to go into that efficiency and consistency. Obviously, in life, there's a part of that where you train and develop individuals about the importance of efficiency, but it's particularly important in the game of football in terms of outcomes and effectiveness. Can you talk about how do you teach? A lot of this in terms of great coaches, the ones that tend to be up there, they're teachers. How do you work with your assistant coaches in regards to teaching the efficiencies and consistencies that you demand and want to have a great football team and a great season?
Well, you on one today, Doc. It might be the suit, man. I don't know. There are a couple of good questions you had today. That's a great question. I think part of the teaching progression with that and game planning is obviously you breaking down the opponent and what they like to do. And Old Dominion had a different style of defense, one that we don't see often. They play with 5 DBs, like 3 high safeties, and they do a lot of rotation with the coverages and bring pressure, a bunch of different ways. So you try to break that down. And I thought ODU did a good job of disguising things and showing us some stuff we hadn't quite seen before. But I think overall, as far as assistant coaches, throughout the week game planning, you look at what they do most often, first and foremost. You look at what they do best. You try to, either stop that or attack that, and then you go from there and try to be prepared for anything else you might see. But it's always, about their what they see on film, what they put on tape, and what they do most often, and then come with a game plan for that.
Thank you, Coach Oliver. Good luck this week.
Thank you.
Keep teaching and building.
Our next question for Coach Oliver comes from James Hill.
Hey, Coach, I hope you and everybody on campus are well. How are you, sir?
We're good, James. How are you?
I'm blessed. The Broncos, when you look at D. Daniels, their quarterback, what are you seeing on film so far? And just talk a little bit about going into this game and the opportunity to get one at home.
First of all, he's a big athletic quarterback. And, he was a guy that we recruited. We looked at him, recruited him out of high school. And, he's very efficient running the football. He has deceptive speed, and he has a strong arm. He's a big guy. He's hard to get down. And, he has a great supporting cast. They have a pretty good big football team. They have 2 tight ends, number 7 and 86. They have some difficult names. I don't know their names yet. But he has a good supporting cast. So it's going to be imperative that we, contain him and keep him in the pocket. And, we have to do a great job with our discipline. They got some receivers that can run, so we got to be able to keep the ball in front of us. But he's a very good quarterback, and he's going to have a great season this year.
Thank you, Coach. Have a good week of practice and a good game.
Yep. Thank you, James.
Our next question for Coach Scott comes from Dwayne Nash.
I'll let you slide the first time. This Coach Oliver now. I gave you the first one.
I'm so sorry, Coach. Our next question for Coach Oliver comes from Dwayne Nash.
Good morning, Coach. Dwayne Nash from the Yard HBCU Sports and the Hero Sports. How are you this morning?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Based upon your history there at North Carolina Central, it seems as though that these payout games don't necessarily affect your team too much because you tend to rebound relatively well the following week. So I have to ask, what do your teams learn about themselves after games like this? And how much of this film do you actually review before going into the next week?
Well, we look at a whole lot of film and we break down every piece of it. But I think you can learn a lot of it. When you're gonna face adversity when you play these bigger schools, and it's about like we talk about thermostat mentality. And we got down in that fourth quarter, and you really see the temperature of your team and see what they're made out of, and you see if guys dropping their heads and who's going to continue to keep playing and fighting through adversity. So that's a plus that you can get from it. Obviously, you hate getting beat the way we did, about 48 points. And you talk about rebounding, fighting back. You got to shake back the next week. We look at it, we lick our wounds and all that stuff, and work to come up with a game plan for the next team. But we did get beat up pretty good against ODU. We lost a couple guys. One or two going to be out for the season. But it's a next man up mentality, and we got to get these 2s and 3s ready to roll for the rest of the season.
All right, thanks, Coach. Good luck this week coming up against Fayetteville State.
Yeah, thank you.
Our next question for Coach Oliver comes from Daryl Duvall.
Good morning, Coach. This is Daryl Duvall from Power U Sports. How are you doing this morning?
I'm well, and you?
I'm doing good, man. It's a nice day in Texas. So I got a question. I got one question for you. From that game that you just played, are there specific players who you feel evaluated the game under the FBS spotlight?
I'm sorry, say that again?
So under the game that you just played this past weekend, do you feel that there's any specific players? And you kind of go back to that question that you were talking about of the way they played and they didn't give up. You felt that they evaluate that you feel that basic elevated their game from this past weekend.
Yeah, the guys, obviously, on paper you're outmatched. You want to, put forward your best effort and things of that nature. And, I told my guys, a lot of y'all guys were recruited by, a lot of Group of 5 schools, and obviously we can play on that level. And at the end of the season, I'm sure these larger schools that we're playing non-conference are going to be calling our guys, trying to do a little bit of recruiting.
Yeah.
But it's a good challenge for us. It's a good test, let you know where your program is. The only way you're going to be able to beat these people is by playing them. So I'm all for it, and I look forward to the challenge.
Well, thank you, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
Yeah, thank you.
Our next question for Coach Oliver comes from Luke Williams.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, Luke.
Everybody in the conference seems to play up, meaning you play an FBS team, play FCS team, and then get a chance to play a Division II team. And the lessons that you get from playing somebody like you played this past week, how does that contrast with what you get? I think about how Ohio State played Texas one week, and then they beat Grambling 70-0 this week. So is that part of the philosophy that goes in the schedules, that you want some games that may be you're playing up, and then some games where you may have an advantage over others? Is that something you like to have in the schedule, or how does that work?
Yeah, and I do my scheduling here myself, and I get with the athletic director, but I, for the most part, handle all of my scheduling. We're going to play one FBS game every year. Obviously, the payout, is a plus. And then on the flip side of it, we'll play a Division II more most years. and obviously we'll be paying them. And then from there, I like a very, very tough FCS schedule. So you look at our non-conference schedule this year, FCS, we have East Texas team who played SMU very close. We have Florida A&M, we have North Carolina A&T, whoever we just played, Southern University.
New
Right.
Hampshire.
So New Hampshire, Southern. So we have a very tough schedule. And but I do want to play one FBS, and then at the same time, we would to even out, we do play one Division II. But I think you can learn a lot about your team playing, up and down. And at the end of the day, it's not about playing Old Dominion or playing Fayetteville State. It's about North Carolina Central and being the best you can be. So we will prepare this week like we're playing Old Dominion. And nothing changes with our time preparation. I guarantee you we will not be sleeping on these people. And but the preparation does not change. It's about North Carolina Central.
Good luck, Coach. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Luke.
Our next question for Coach Oliver comes from Stephen Gaither.
Good morning, Coach Oliver. How you doing?
I'm well, Stephen. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. You look at the new landscape of college football, and you're talking about how, some of those other schools are going to be hitting your guys up. Obviously, this weekend you had Jamari was down in the area. He had a great game. And then now on the other end, you guys probably get a chance to look at some guys that maybe end up helping you guys. Just talk about the new reality of basically everybody's scouting and scouting everybody.
Richard Hayes, the head coach of Fayetteville State, is a good friend of mine. Okay, do you really think that I would be scouting the players at Fayetteville State? No, man, it's something about that though, honestly, and it rolls downhill. Obviously, when people come poach the players, and they come in and get your guys. Obviously you have to have a plan. And, traditionally I don't deal with a lot of transfers, but the way it is now, you kind of have to replace some of your older players. And it's hard to do that with true freshmen. So yes, to answer your question, we do look at Division II players, and we'll be evaluating, I guess you could say. We're trying to win a football game, man. So we'll come back and handle this recruit stuff later. But, obviously it does roll down here, like I said. So some of these Division II schools we will be taking a good look at.
I appreciate it, Coach. Good luck.
And Winston-Salem as well. So let Massey know.
All right.
That concludes all of our media questions for Coach Oliver this morning. Thank you so much for joining us, and best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
North Carolina Central hosts Fayetteville State on Saturday, September 13th at O'Kelly-Riddick Stadium in Durham, North Carolina. Kickoff is set for 6 p.m., broadcasting on ESPN+. Lynn, back over to you for our next interview.
Thank you so much, Elise. Let's go to Dover, Delaware, where on Saturday, Thunder and Lightning was all in the area, but it was on the field as well. Congratulations, Coach Jackson, on your very first collegiate head coaching win. You ought to get 2 W's because you won on the field and you beat the weather delay as well. So welcome to the show. And let's talk about it, Coach. You had a great 37-32 win over Albany. How did you and the Hornets do it?
We fought, man. That was an everlasting game, one of the longest games I've ever been a part of. It just speaks to the resiliency, man, and the mindset that this coach and this team has, been asked to step up with and play with during the time it's been since I've been here in January. Like I told them yesterday in the team meeting, man, I tip my hat off to those guys because, in those circumstances and those conditions, man, you never know how you can, stay engaged, right? We had one postponed. It was 30 minutes, and then we got another. We had to go in for the locker room for at least 3 hours, right? So it just, like I said, it just speaks to their mindset and what we're being asked to do right now.
Well, Coach, like I said, one victory for the game and one for the weather delay, but now you got to strap it up again because you got a very tough opponent coming in Bowie State out of the CIAA. What are you expecting from this coming matchup?
Man, every week we play, man, we respect our opponents. My philosophy has never been about the opponent; it's been about ourselves. So going into it, we'll watch film. We'll see what they do well, but at the end of the day, it really comes down to the things we do well, right? So, they're a tough team, very physical. They do some great things as well too. They play together. They have a good culture. So, we're excited about the opportunity. We have another home game here in Dover, so it was a great outcome last week. We had our fans come out, schools rallying behind us, so it's going to be a tough, hostile environment, and we just look forward to keep building that here at home.
Well, we certainly hope you can keep it going and that you can get that tremendous support that you've been asking for and receiving thus far. Hold on just for a second, Elise. Here you go with some media questions for Coach Jackson.
Thank you, Lynn. As a reminder to the media, please use the raise hand feature and remain muted until you're introduced. Also, please limit your questions for Coach Jackson to just one. Our first questions for Coach Jackson come from Wayne Cartwright.
Hey, Coach Jackson, Wayne Cartwright, the Ride with Wild Wayne Cartwright. You've been in close games as a player, and at 32-31 with a minute and a half remaining, fill us in, Coach. What were the emotions like? What was the heart rate like? Tell us about how that was, man, from the coaching perspective.
Yeah, I mean, being in the midst of that game, man, when I tell you it was a lot of ups and down roller coaster emotions, being on the sideline and just watching the effort of our guys, they got out early on the 7-0 big time play on the second play of the game. We just kind of weathered the storm. Then we end up going for it on fourth down, fumbled the ball. They had the ball inside their, our 40-yard line. It's just a glimpse of that game. When I tell you it was roller coaster, it was crazy, but I really credit the team, their morale, their mindset, because they never gave up. Being down in that game, we actually went up 31-20. In the fourth quarter, they came back. I think it was like 8 minutes left in the game. They came back and then they scored back-to-back touchdowns. And now we go down 32-31. Then we have a delay. We got to go in the locker room. Then we come back out. We think we're going to play, and then we have another delay. So when I tell you that last minute and a half in that game when it was raining, I mean, we're prepared for those scenarios. We're prepared for those conditions because we practice here. We felt like we had the advantage. And, it's crazy that I say this, but our teams, we practice the best at the evening time. Like, we have scenarios of practice where I love to go out and practice like 6:45, 7 p.m. And, we call it the set it off period. And like, that's all we kept preaching, man. It's the set it off period. That other team, Albany, they wasn't used to that, right? So we took it as it came and we went out there and we executed and we won that game.
Well, thanks, Coach. Good luck this week against Bowie State, and congratulations again on getting your first win.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Our next question for Coach Jackson comes from Dr. Kenyatta Cavill.
Thank you, Lisa. It's Kenyatta Cavill, Dr. Cavill, inside the HBC Sports Lab. Congratulations to you, Coach, your staff, as well as the players in terms of this exciting win. I got to watch a lot of the game via broadcast until the stoppage, obviously. But I wanted to talk about that last drive in terms of 14 plays, 72 yards in the mix of the stoppage. Talk about some of the big plays and how do you settle your guys down from all that took place to be in a game, as you said, that had the ebbs and flows to be successful in a final drive, essentially.
Yeah. Well, we preach this all the time, man. We got to take advantage of our opportunities, right? And as that game, had a stoppage, we was actually it was 2 minutes left in the game. It was 2nd and 6. We was on the opponent 44-yard line, marching down the field to score. And for me, coming out of that stoppage, I mean, we had a few options, right? And 3 of them, when the MEAC called our athletic director, 3 of those options was out of it for us, because I think all 3 came down to us either forfeiting and stopping the game with the other team winning because they was up a point. And the final one was either we're gonna play it out and just wait till the conditions present itself for us to play it out, and the other one was postpone the game. Which in my reality, I'm like, man, we're gonna stay here until we can't stay here no more. So in our mind, our mind was made up, and I know how hard my guys work. I know how bad they want it. In that scenario, 2nd and 6, we come out. Once they did allow us, I think it was like an 8:15 hard start. We had a little window to finish the game. We came out, 2nd and 6. We handed it off to our guy, Marquise Gillis. He powers forward for about 3 yards. And now we have a 3rd and 3, and we give it to him again, and he punches it through and gets the 3rd and 3, right? So, I mean, for us in those scenarios and those conditions, we're going to put the ball in our guys' hands that we trust and believe in. And it just showed our will and our power for us to overcome those conditions. And then you see on the first down, Caden, man, took it into his own hands and ran it in for a touchdown, man. It was a huge play. And, we just look for these opportunities to make plays because we feel like we got the right players to make them.
Certainly did that. Appreciate taking through that drive.
Yes, sir.
For
Yes.
those who see it.
Yes,
Good
sir.
luck,
Thank
Coach, and have a good one.
Thank you, man. You too.
Our next question for Coach Jackson comes from James Hill.
Good morning, Coach. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. So how you doing, Jay?
I'm blessed. I'm blessed. The opportunity to coach up a group of young men, leadership, to take over a football program, and you guys put in the work, and now flip the script. Now you're winning already, week 2, because you outlasted Albany in the weather and the diversity, the whole 9. But just talk about putting this team together, and the fruits are already paying off as you move forward. And now you can go into week 3 knowing that you have something to continue to work towards.
Yeah, man, that's a great point, man. We feel like we've done a great job recruiting. We feel like we've done a great job in the portal, bringing, obviously guys in to help change this culture around. Early on in the season, our first handset of games, man, we knew it was going to be tough games. Obviously, last week we talked about the UD game when we played Delaware and the expectations. We feel like, we played up to par. We still feel like it wasn't good enough, and coming into this week, we knew we had a tough team versus Albany, and they have a great coach and they've done some great things in the CAA conference, right? We know that conference is definitely a culture of winning and stuff and hard nosed football, right? So to say nonetheless, we expect it to be in a tough game. We expect to come out and win every game we play. We take it personal every game we go into. We're the underdogs. We take that personal because we know the hard work we put in. We know what we are capable of doing. And those guys showed it out there in practice, all off season, all spring ball, all summer camp. These guys showed it. So my expectations for these guys are very high, and our standards are very high. And week in and week out, it will be shown. We would go out there and we would continue to compete and play at a high level. So that's our mentality. We don't really care, the predictions or people don't believe in us. We believe in ourselves and we know what we're capable of doing.
Thank you, Coach Jackson. Have a blessed week. Good luck against Bowie State University.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Our next question for Coach Jackson comes from Daryl Duvall.
Hey, Coach, first of all, I want to say congratulations on your first win, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Man, yeah, y'all did a good job. Real quick, UL Albany bought a balanced attack. What did you learn about your defense ability to handle both the run and the pass?
Man, I honestly, man, I'm a straight shooter, man, and I always, speak to how I feel. This week, back-to-back weeks is concerning for a head coach when you have an offense that comes out and passes how they did and has success like they did. Back-to-back weeks, we had over 200 plus yards, maybe over 250 plus yards in the air. It's not acceptable. And my expectations for our defense, we got some guys that can fly around and make plays. We will get better in the passing game. In the run game, I feel like they did a decent job. Albany only ran for 78 yards. We knew they had a running quarterback. We knew they had a few good running backs as well too. So I feel like in the run game, we can plug it a little more and we can, compete a little better at that defense at the line, because I feel like the trenches are, where we win these games at on offense and defense, right? So for us, I think total yards, I think they was somewhere around 300. And I know we had over 500 plus yards, right? So I will always take that when we're leading the total yardage game. But as far as the defense, I feel like we could get a lot better. But hey, they did enough for us to get out of there and win that game because Albany had the ball last. So we came out there and stopped. I think they had about 30-something seconds left in that game, and we came out and got a stop. So, I'm hard on my guys because, once again, I seen what they put out there on the field, right? So week in and week out, we'll get better and we'll do what we need to do to continue to win games.
All right. Good luck this weekend, man. Go.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Our next question for Coach Jackson comes from Chris Stevens.
Good morning, Coach. Chris Stevens, HBCU Sports. How you doing?
Hey, I'm great. Yourself, man. Blessed.
Pretty good. I know one thing that probably frustrated you more than the pass defense on Saturday was the number of penalties on the offensive side when you guys were trying to just go up tempo. There were a lot of illegal procedures and false starts. Just What do you chalk that up to as far as the number of penalties, and what do you hope to change about that heading into Bowie State and the rest of the season?
And that's a tough question. You gonna put me in a vulnerable spot, man. I never like to, call out referees. They have a job to do, right? We all have a job to do on Saturdays or whenever that game presents itself. Man, 2 weeks in a row, 14 penalties for about roughly the same yardage, 114 yards. Unacceptable as a head coach, unacceptable as a team. And we'll correct that. We'll tighten up that. But in order to win football games, man, like I keep talking about it, we cannot shoot ourselves in the foot. And right now, we're shooting ourselves in the foot in those areas. I preach discipline all the time. I preach executing your job all the time, right? And I just got to do a better job of reiterating that to the guys. But I feel like my message is clear. I'm telling my team, in order for us to win games and have a chance, we can't keep affording to shoot ourselves in the foot like that, right? So we'll clean that up. We'll do a better job. It was some calls that I questioned. At the end of the day, as a head coach, you have to, because you see calls being called, and sometimes they have nothing to do with the play, right? So, I tried to keep talking to the refs and say, man, can you help me understand? I don't want to question your call. I'm gonna respect your call, but just help me understand. So, week in and week out, hopefully we continue to do a better job in doing everything we can so we're in compliance with the referees.
All right, Coach, thanks for your time. Best of luck this weekend.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Our next question for Coach Jackson comes from Dwayne Nash.
Good morning, Coach Dwayne Nash from the Yard, HBCU Sports and Hero Sports. How are you this morning?
Hey, I'm blessed in yourself, brother.
Well, I'm doing pretty good. Now, I don't want to fast forward too far beyond your first win, but I do want to address the future a little bit. Your running back, Sean Weston, freshman out of Inglewood, got 10 carries in his first appearance this past weekend against Albany. I have to ask, how were you capable of recruiting him to come from Inglewood to Dover? And will you be going back to your home state to try to recruit more players to come play in the MEAC in the future?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, yes, sir. Man, Deuce, we call him Deuce Weston, Sean Weston Jr. Man, I've been knowing that youngster since he's been, man, roughly 8 to 10 years old. His father actually coaches on our coaching staff. He's our DB coach, Sean Weston Sr. Man, Deuce just had a heck of a game. He had an opportunity. His numbers was called. We had a few scenarios where a few older guys, wasn't playing in this game, and it was a last minute decision. But just going back a little bit, man, our running back room is very special, and we've been knowing that all year long, all spring long, all summer long, and the expectations from that group, we feel like they're the train to our team, right? And they'll move us and they'll do things we need to do for us to win football games because we feel like we got some dogs in that room. As far as about continuously recruiting in those areas, I'm from Los Angeles, California. That's my home. So yes, I'll definitely be bringing more guys from LA and that culture out there to come play HBC ball, man, here in the MEAC conference. So it just shows, man, we got a lot of young guys, and the expectations and the standards, we'll be asking them guys to step in and play some ball for us, and they're going to have to step up and play big.
All right, thanks so much, Coach. Good luck this week against Bowie.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Our next question for Coach Jackson comes from Andy Walter.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
Hey, I'm blessed. How you doing, man?
All right. Hey, on that punt late in the game, was that a called fake? And what was the thinking there on that play?
No, sir. That was not a called fake. I think early in the game, and we had a talk with our punter Dyson Roberts about that scenario. Because I think the world thinks that was a play called fake, and that wasn't the scenario. Like I say, we wind back earlier in the game. It was a punt where it was kind of a little to the snap was a little to the right, and in his mind he said he thought he could run, but we don't have that in our plays, and we don't have that as a call, right? So he took that up on himself to make that decision, and that was a bonehead decision he made that could have cost us the game, and we talked to him about that as well. And Dyson is a player that we look at as a leader, and he's better than that. He won't make those mistakes again. So moving forward, he can't put us in a predicament like that to hurt us in that game, because to go for it on 4th and 10 inside our own 30-yard line is terrible.
Thanks.
Sir.
Our next question for Coach Jackson comes from Luke Williams.
Good morning, Coach. Congratulations on your first win. A little bit about your quarterback, Caden Bennett, about how you got him and how he's played so far.
Well, how we got him in it. So he was a scenario where he needed a waiver to get his extra year back. He played last year at Sacramento State. He ended up they beat Stanford in the game that he started in, and he had an injury that he ended up not playing anymore, right? So he had to go through the process. A mutual friend of mine actually knew him and kind of put me on to him early in this process. And I kind of just awaited the situation. And then once he was granted his waiver by the NCAA, I was pressing him like quick, ASAP, to get him here and get him locked in. The mutual friend of mine that I had that knows him is a great friend of mine as well, too. And it kind of made it all happen for us. So happy to have a guy like that, man. He's a heck of a player. He's proven that he can play at a high level. He's played FBS ball as well too, but not FBS ball. Well, he beat an FBS ball team. Obviously, come from Sac State. They play a lot of FBS teams. So his pedigree, man, he's a winner. His mentality is resilience, and at any given time, man, he's gonna take it in his hands to make a play for us to win the football game. And as you saw this past Saturday, what he's capable of doing.
Good luck against Bowie, Coach.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That concludes all of our media questions for Coach Jackson. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Okay, you guys have a blessed day.
Delaware State hosts Bowie State on Saturday, September 13th at Alumni Stadium in Dover, Delaware. Kickoff is set for 3 p.m., broadcasting on ESPN+. Lynn, over to you for our next interview. Muted there, Lynn.
There it is. There it is. Okay, let's take it to Norfolk, Virginia, the head coach, Michael Vick. Good morning to you.
Hey, good morning. How y'all doing?
Good. Coach, can you imagine this? Your very first conference win, a truly unforgettable one in thrilling fashion over a rival at home. Let's talk about it. 34-31 in overtime. Let's talk about the performance, the energy in Dick Price Stadium, the rivalry, everything, and your team's performance.
Yes. Yeah, I tell you what, it took 5 quarters to win the game. We came out, started out slow. Felt like we put them in a position to make some plays, and then we made a play, and then they made a play, and then we didn't make a play, and they kept making plays. And I'm proud of the guys for just hanging in there and just keep continuing to believe and know that we stress it's a 4-quarter game, and so just wanted to make sure. They was just, in tune with the game plan, in tune with what had to happen. And they were certainly, mentally and physically, prepared for the challenge, when it came down to it. And so, it was a 13-point deficit for a long time. And we just got into the game and found ways to win, made adjustments and found ways to win.
Well, you got to ball this up and take it on the road this weekend to Rutgers. So how are you preparing the team to take this formula with you to get a win against the Scarlet Knights?
Yeah, certainly wins like that build character. You just never know when, you're going to be in that type of game where you got to, go into overtime and find a way to win in overtime. And so I think it'll be good for our guys. I'm glad they got the taste out of their mouth, the sour taste out of their mouth from week 1. They was asking a lot of questions in terms of what actually happened and how we could get better. And so this week we got to get better each and every day. We got a good opponent that we're going on the road to face. And we just want to go in there and put on our best showing. So there's no need to take our foot off the gas. Let's go compete hard, play hard, and try to find a way to win.
Well, congratulations on your first win. And Elise has more questions from the media. Elise?
Thank you, Lynn. As a reminder to the media, please use the raise hand feature and remain muted until you're introduced. Also, please limit your question to 1 for Coach Vick. Our first question for Coach Vick comes from Wayne Cartwright.
Hey, Coach Vick, Wayne Cartwright, the Ride with Wild Wayne Cartwright. You guys overcame so much. I know it was 46-yard field goal that was within a yard from being good. There was a lot that you guys overcame. But what I specifically want to know is the play that Virginia State scored a touchdown on when they handed the ball off to to the receiver and he turned around and threw it back to the quarterback. It was said live that they didn't think that was a legal play.
Yeah.
Was that really a legal play? And did you question it? And just what all went into that, man? That looked weird.
Yeah, it was weird, and we was kind of calling it out from the sideline. But hey, what can you do in that situation? It's not our job to referee the game. We depend on those guys to make the right calls at the right times, and so that's I know it's stipulations to talking about that, and so I'll just say that everybody has a job to do on game day, and let's just hope that it gets done, not just for us but for all the teams that's competing. And we know those it's not going to be perfect all the time. So I acknowledge that, and we just had to. It was something we had to play through. It happened at a point in the game where we needed to get off the field, but the guys kept pushing and kept fighting and didn't make excuses, and we just kind of we had to keep coaching hard and keep pushing them hard. And so while they out there living it, it's some things are out of their control, and so we just leave it at that. But I'm glad we was able to overcome that, and we just never know if a situation like that going to rise down the road. We just want to be as resilient as we can be, know that things are going to happen, and it's not what happens in the moment, is how you react to it.
Well, thanks, Coach. Congrats on your first win again, and good luck on that road trip up there at Rutgers and Greg Schiano.
Thanks.
Our next question for Coach Vick comes from Dr. Kenyatta Cavill.
Kenyatta Cavill, Dr. Cavill is inside the HBC Sports Lab. Good morning, Coach Vick.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing well. So many chunk plays in that, big plays, both sides of the ball and defensive as well. Talk about the emotional roller coaster that you go as a head coach in a game like that, but needing to steady the ship and keeping focus and not having maybe the emotional plays that fans and even your players have in a game like that.
Yeah, well, in football games, you're going to give up big plays, but it's all about how you overcome it. And certainly you want to limit the big plays. And at some point it's going to catch up with you. So we try to focus on that, as of right now. How do we eliminate that? I think it's for the players to go back and watch it and the mistakes that was made, things they could do better. It's about getting better the next week. And so trusting that process. But, outside of that, we make it a much tighter football game. And, still you just got to make everybody work for everything they're going to get for every blade of grass. And that'll never change in the game of football. And so it's for us as well. So, we try to put, our guys in the most difficult situations to be ready for situations like that. And so, we'll just keep playing hard, man, and just keep doing what we got to do, man. But, they made their share of big plays and we made ours. And so, as long as you're matching it, it's all good until it's not.
Certainly. And congratulations to you, the staff, and your players on the big win.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Our next question for Coach Vick comes from James Hill.
Good morning, Coach Vick. How you doing, sir? Congratulations.
How you doing? Good morning. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Talk a little bit about, you've been able to come in here, flip the script, so to speak, on a program. You came home, this team is winning now. You put in a culture, determination, grit, grind, everything you guys are chipping in as a family atmosphere. And Otto, you guys showed up and outlasted that game. Just talk about moving forward, and you guys are putting the foundation in as we speak.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, just past experiences and playing the game, it's just about durability and being able to go 5 quarters if you need to. And I felt like, our team got stronger as the game went on. I think that more mentally strong as the game went on, and just, trusting themselves, trusting the technique, trusting the things that they've been taught, and then being in the moment, trusting themselves, because ultimately, you make a call and you leave it up to them to go execute it. So, from a physical standpoint, we want to always be ready to go 4 quarters and be ready to go toe to toe with anybody, whether we got to come from behind or we got to protect the lead. And so, every game is going to be different. We acknowledge that, and and we just try to prepare for every situation. So I'm gonna just continue to challenge them to, put a, be at their best when their best is required, and do all the right things. And the little things is gonna, help them at times like that, in the fifth quarter.
Good luck in week 3, Coach.
Like, appreciate it.
Our next question for Coach Vick comes from Ty Miller.
Hey, Coach Vick.
How you doing, Ty?
Got a question about the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. They have a very good offense with a lot of weapons, but two guys jump out on the tape. Cadillac Manus, the quarterback, and the big wide receiver, Ian Strong. What are your impressions of them?
Yeah, I think they got a good football team. Ultimately those guys, we got to challenge them and got to make them work for everything. Just like they're gonna make us work for it. And so, we're accepting the challenge, but it's up to us to try to put together the best plan to try to negate what they do best. And so, we'll study them, we'll watch them, and then we'll try to put a plan together that's going to, allow us to, be competitive, be super competitive. And so, we're not going to treat them any different than we treat anybody else. It's anybody's ball game when the ball is snapped. And so we'll get our chances and opportunities just like they'll get theirs. And so it's, we gotta make the most of it.
All right, thanks.
Our next question for Coach Vick comes from Daryl Duvall.
Good morning, Coach. I was trying to put my video is not working. So anyway, first of all, good morning.
Morning.
How you doing today?
You go.
So, Coach, first of all, congratulations on your win. This is Daryl Duvall from Powering You Sports. Hey, I just want to ask you, Coach, about as you continue building the program, what progress do you see from week 1 to week 2?
I seen more work ethic. I seen more confidence. I seen our guys asking questions and trying to figure out what they could have did better. How did we lose the game in week 1? And so when you got the guys who are that concerned, who want to know why, the reasons why, asking the right questions, then that's something that you can build off. And I think those guys are actually too confident coming into this game. They made some great plays early in the game. Once again, 16 penalties. To be able to overcome that, says a lot. And so, those guys, we're just going to continue to keep working hard, continue to, build on our structure and control the things that we can control and not try to get too far ahead of ourselves. Just take it one day at a time, one snap at a time.
Well, I will say you're doing a real good job with bringing enthusiastics to this program, and good luck for this weekend, Coach.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We're trying.
Our next question for Coach Vick comes from Stephen Gaither.
Good morning, Coach Vick. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Doing well, doing well. First off, congrats on your win, really gritty win and everything like that. Second game in a row, you guys switched up quarterbacks, bringing in Otto after starting in Israel. Moving forward, have you guys made a decision as far as, who you guys are going to go with, or is it still sticking with Israel?
Yeah, we haven't made a decision as of yet. We still got till tomorrow to decide, but we want to just go back and evaluate everything, watch the film, sit down with both of the quarterbacks and talk it through. And got to do what's best for the team and what makes the most sense right now. And just trying to get a feel for where they at with everything from a comfort level standpoint. And so, going into the third game of the season, this is where you start to try to create an identity for the team. And I think it's important right now for our guys to know what direction we're going in and, the structure we're trying to create. So, we got to evaluate that. It's a good problem to have. And so I'm going to make sure we collectively try to make the best decision possible.
Appreciate it, Coach. Good luck this week.
Thank you.
Our next question for Coach Vick comes from Brandon King.
Good morning, Coach Vick. How you doing?
Good, Brandon. Good morning.
Brandon King with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab and SneakerShopTalk.com. You touched on it. First of all, let me back up. I'd be remiss if I didn't congratulate you on notching your first win. So congratulations to you, your young men, and your staff as well.
Thank you.
You touched on it briefly in one of your previous answers. You had 16 penalties for 127 yards. 10 of them came in the first half. You've been penalized 25 times in your first 2 games. What has been your message to your young men, your staff? And because we've seen some of these penalties that they've come at really inopportune times, wiping away touchdowns and even big plays on the defensive end. So as you go into your preparation for week 3, what's been your message to your staff and your young men addressing this and cleaning it up for Saturday and as you go forth in the season?
Yeah, we definitely want to stress that. You can't play the game going backwards. And so that's what I told them. We can't play going backwards. I haven't seen a team ever have a successful season playing the game going backwards. And so it's all about progressing it forward. That's the name of the game. We gotta be more disciplined. We gotta hop on the discipline more. We gotta hop on the details more. And ultimately they gotta trust their technique. The interception return that was negated by a personal foul. I was hit or miss. The quarterback was scrambling in the pocket. He just happened to get hit when he was releasing the ball. And so, some of them you may question. Some of them, are just like bonehead penalties. Like, you could have avoided that. Or, it's hard to ask them that in the moment, but some things, is in our control and some is out of our control. And so I'm gonna put the onus on them. I'm challenging them to grow up and grow up fast because we're not gonna win too many games, with the same pattern over and over again. And so that's 2 weeks back to back. We was able to overcome them 2 weeks back to back. Last week, but even in the first game. But it's not gonna always be that way. Some good teams we playing and good opponents, and they're gonna take advantage of it. So we got to fix it real quick.
Thanks for that insight, Coach, and good luck this weekend and move forward throughout the season.
Thank you.
And our next question for Coach Vick comes from Luke Williams.
Hey, Coach, congratulations on the big win. I was going to ask you the Kuhn Carter question, but Steve Gaither took that question. So I got another one for you. I don't know if you know this, but Norfolk State used to be the perennial, when they were in Division II, they were the perennial attendance leader in Division II, almost similar to what Jackson State has done in 1AA football and has continued in FCS football. And over the last 2 weeks, I think 19,000 the first week, 22,000 this week. Talk about the support that you've seen, what it's ignited in terms of the area, and how's it affected you and your team?
Yeah, it's great to have a packed house. It's great playing with a crowd. Obviously we want them to be louder, and be as loud as they can be. But this is kind of new for everybody. We appreciate it. I know the players appreciate it, and now they got a lot to play for, and so it gives them something to look forward to every week. Ups the responsibility on their end. You got a lot of people watching, so you're responsible for your body of work and what you put on film and what people get to see with their own eyes. And so, they deserve this. They worked hard for it. We worked hard for it. And so we're going to continue to encourage the crowd participation, to continue to encourage attendance, even more attendance, and, give them reason to come out and cheer us on. So, we appreciate it, and we want to just keep pushing in the right direction and keep building on what the foundation we've laid.
Thanks, Coach.
And our next question for Coach Vick comes from Dwayne Nash.
Good morning, Coach. Dwayne Nash from the Yard, HBCU Sports and Hero Sports. How are you this morning?
Doing great. How about you?
Doing all right. I'm sorry to come in so late with my question, but it just hit me once everyone else asked the question and no one else seemed to touch on it. I know you have a lot of resources in terms of former coaches that you've played for, in terms of how to prep throughout the year. Have you spoken to them, or has the conversation come up about how to prepare your team to face a Power 4 program like you're going to face this weekend against Rutgers?
No, I haven't consulted with anybody, and I think, if I do, and maybe this is just my intuition, could be wrong, could be right. I think you have to kind of do it your way. And, collectively, we have to find a way because those people can't come in here and watch film for us or, give me the advice. I think they all pretty much say the same thing, but it's just being as prepared as you can be, watching film and trying to be, proactive and not reactive. And we just want to go into this game against a good school and be competitive Like, they're gonna feel like we shouldn't be on the field with them, and we're gonna feel like they shouldn't be on the field with us. And so, it's just the attitude and the mindset you bring to the game. And I don't care who you play or where you play them or how you play them. You go play and you leave it all out in the field. And as long as you play confident, believe in yourself, good things are happening. And so we learned that last week, and we just gonna keep building on that. But not gonna give them all the credit in the world. They got to lace them up just like us.
All right. Thanks so much, Coach. And once again, congratulations on your first victory this past weekend.
Thank
you. Thank you.
That concludes all of our media questions for Coach Vick at this time. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, and best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Norfolk State will travel to play Rutgers on Saturday, September 13th at SHI Stadium in Piscataway, New Jersey. Kickoff is set for 3:30 p.m., airing on the Big Ten Network. Lynn, back over to you for our next interview.
Thanks so much, Elise. We're going now to Orangeburg, South Carolina. I see Chennis there. Good morning to you, Coach Barry. How you doing?
Good morning, sir. How you doing today?
Doing good. You played an in-state rival that just happened to be in the top 10 in the FBS polls, Coach. And the Bulldogs went up against South Carolina, the Gamecocks, and you even struck first on the scoreboard. Played a very good football team and a good performance from our standpoint. Let's hear about you. What do you think about the Bulldogs and how you did against the top 10 program?
First of all, what an unbelievable experience, man. Our guys had to show resilience at the beginning before the ball even kicked off because, obviously, as everybody knows, it's a sold-out venue and what a great atmosphere over there. But we had a 2-hour and 17-minute rain delay, so we never got a chance to get out there, man. But, I was super proud of our young men and how they played. I mean, they played really, really good football, inspired football. Built a lot of confidence as we go the rest of the season. Obviously, we fell short. The mission doesn't change for us, as you see on my chest, is to go 1-0. That's our philosophy. That's what we're all about. Didn't get it done, but we played against a really good football team. And, for the most part, our guys played really well, really for 60 minutes. It really wasn't as you watched the game, if you really, really looked at it, I thought our guys competed throughout offensively, defensively. Obviously, it came back to the game change when we had a couple of blunders on the special team in the kicking unit. So, all is well. We've addressed it. It wasn't particularly the scheme because we fixed the scheme from the prior week. It was more so just executing and getting guys on the ground. So they got guys on scholarship too, but we just didn't make our play when we had an opportunity to make our play. But great game, great environment, proud of our young men, proud of our coaches.
Okay, you close the book on that one and return home to Orangeburg this week to host a longtime rival and a former MEAC foe in what now boasts to be a MEAC SWAC matchup in Bethune-Cookman. What will the Bulldogs area focus in preparing for the Wildcats be this week as you seek to go 1-0 this coming week?
Well, just like you said, man, the whole MEAC rival, man, at the end of the day, been some battles with South Carolina State and Bethune-Cookman over the years. But, right now we're just focusing on us, man. Coach Woody's going to have his team ready to go. They suffered 2 tough losses against 2 really good programs. They lost to FIU first game of the season, and then they lost to University of Miami. So obviously they're trying to get their team together. But I'm gonna keep focusing on the Bulldogs, man. The Bulldogs are some things we got to improve on. Some things I'm very, very pleased with. But as head coaches, we're never really ultimately pleased. We want to get better. So we're gonna build on the things we do good, kind of clean up some things we don't do so good, and just try to find a way to get a victory and go 1-0 in Oliver C. Dawson Stadium.
There's no place like home, Coach. So hold on just for a sec. Here's Elise with a lot of questions.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. As a reminder to the media, please use the raise hand feature and remain muted until you're introduced. Also, please limit your questions to just one. Our first questions for Coach Barry come from Dwayne Nash.
I'm sorry, Coach. I didn't have a question. I didn't lower my hand from my previous question. from Norfolk State. My apologies.
Thank you.
All right. Our first question for Coach Barry comes from James Hill.
Hey, Coach, I hope you and everybody in Bulldogs Nation are well. How you doing, sir?
I'm outstanding, man. How you doing today?
I'm blessed. I'm blessed. Talk a little bit about your quarterbacks, Mr. Atkins as well as Mr. Stubblefield. They both had an opportunity to play against Carolina. What did you see out of those two gentlemen as you move forward heading into your game at home against Bethune?
They both did really good things. They moved our offense, and that's ultimately what we want to do. When you get a chance to face a SEC defense, you got to be ready to rock and roll. But I thought they did a really good job of managing. When you're talking about, we spread the ball around to 10 different receivers. Just taking what the defense gives us, and the things that they did give us, we took advantage of it. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm proud of how they're moving our offense. They're doing some good things, and they provide a spark. When we bring Ryan into the game, Ryan comes in and he normally does a really good job. So we're going to continue to use that for him in the first couple games of the season, and eventually we'll just settle on one guy. But I think early on in the year, especially before we get into MEAC play, we're going to find out, and the cream's going to rise to the top.
Good luck this week against Bethune-Cookman, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Our next question for Coach Barry comes from Dr. Kenyatta Cavill.
This is Kenyatta Cavill. Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Good morning, Coach Barry.
Dr. Cavill, how you doing this morning? Doing all right?
Doing well. I like the way that you have the setup there. It's pretty unique and nice. Good job with your production people over there. I know you had a touch in that. But back to the football question, I had a theme that I've kind of been going over a little bit this morning about teaching and the efficiency part of the game. And so even though you play the SEC program, obviously top 25, there are a lot of ways that you look at that film. If you would share us a little bit about in terms of how you go about coaching the efficiency techniques in terms of breaking down film and how you will translate that in terms of moving forward in this next matchup and beyond.
Well, when you're watching opponents, and when we went into this game, it's all about teaching. I tell our coaches all the time, we're teachers probably more so than, we use the term coach, but we're teacher Barry or teacher O'Daffer, because we're teachers and providing visual aids for young men to give them a chance to think that they're going to have success. So we painted pictures throughout the week, of what we thought would be good versus University of South Carolina. And I think for the most part, if you really look at it, man, we played really well. So, sometimes they want to see NFL clips. They want to see clips that people have success versus the opponent that we're getting ready to face. So it's more of teaching mechanisms that we use. But, I tell our guys all the time, our coaches, listen, guys, we're in a raising young men. They're impressionable young age. They watch everything we say, how we dress, how we speak, how we interact, our energy and our belief. When you're playing against a top 10 team in the country, you can't go in as a coach and be lackadaisical with your presentation. You have to come in with some fire and some energy and getting guys to believe. Half the battle is getting them to believe. You're already facing so many different challenges when you go against a top 10 in the country football program. So first thing you got to do is get the young men that are entrusted within your leadership to believe. And I think our guys believe from the time we went on the field from all that week and then to the time we left for 60 minutes, they really believed and truly felt like we had a chance to win the football game pretty much the whole game. So it starts with winning between the ears, man. You got to win the mindset. I'm a mindset guy. So, I try to get our young men locked in on the mindset, and our young men are definitely follow my leadership. I have to lead from the front, right? I can't be lukewarm with my enthusiasm, man. I got to come with some drive and some vigor to get our young men to believe that they can go out and find a way to win a football game.
I'm with you, Coach. Makes sense, and use that as a tactic myself. Continue to build, and good luck this weekend. Look forward to the matchup, Coach.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Our next question for Coach Barry comes from Chris Stevens.
Good morning, Coach. Chris Stevens, HBCU Sports. How you doing?
Mr. Stevens, always good to see you, brother.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to kind of expound on Dr. Cavill's question and ask this. Is there a difference in how you evaluate a team, how you evaluate your team, after you've played, as you say, a top 10 team in the country against whether you would be playing Bethune-Cookman or in the previous week, Wofford, or is it just like the same evaluatory process every week. You know, what a guy did well, what a guy didn't do well, what this unit could have improved on, that type of deal.
See, I have a different philosophy. I'm kind of like Nick Saban on this one. When I'm breaking down film, I don't think plays, I think players. And obviously they got players. All right. So I have players as well. I have to find a way to put my players in the best situation to be successful. I think the thing that got our team calm throughout the week is still football. At the end of the day, whether we're playing University of South Carolina, Bethune-Cookman, Fayetteville State, whoever we're playing, it's football. Okay, and our young men really bought into that all week. At the end of the day, we have to. They had 90,000 people in the stands. I promise you, it was packed, even after a 2.5-hour delay. But guess what? Cable 11 line up there on the field. They're going to play certain things. They're going to run certain plays. They're going to run certain fronts. And at the end of the day, they got players, man. When I looked out there, I saw some of the most outstanding looking young men that I've ever seen in my life. Look like, you know, when you used to create a player on Madden, man, they had some guys that look like you create a player. Man, I'm talking about pretty. I'm talking about good looking young men. But all in all, man, those guys, you know, our guys really believe, man, and we went out there and really, really competed for 60 minutes. So I'm super proud of our young men. They believed the whole time. Again, we just fell short against a really good top 10 in the country SEC football program.
All right, Coach, thanks for your time and wisdom as always. Best of luck this weekend.
Thank you so much. Take care. God bless.
Our next question for Coach Barry comes from Stephen Gaither.
Coach Barry, how you doing this morning?
Mr. Gaither, my guy, how you doing, man?
Doing well, doing well. Yeah, you know, talk about that. You know, you're talking about players, and obviously you guys have them and you guys competed hard. But kind of like I asked, you know, Coach Oliver, these days now with the transfer portal year to year and NIL, and you know, you got folks trying to recruit your players all the time. Is there any hesitancy to not want to show too much of your hand in these games? Seriously, I mean, you know, there's a guy that's over at South Carolina now that started off at South Carolina State under Coach Pugh. Just talk about the reality of you know, where you guys find yourself in that vacuum.
Man, Mr. Gaither, man, it is what it is, man. We understand, you know, at the end of the day, those young men, they see the bells and whistles and the glitz and glamour. And if they get an opportunity to go to those other places, really nothing we can do. But I'm trying to win a football game, man. So, you know, when the game was over, Coach Beamer walked across the field. And, you know, my biggest thing is I want to make sure when I shake that head coach's hand, that we put a good product out there. And the first thing he said to me, first of all, Coach, you have a really, really good football team. And second of all, you're very, very physical. So for an SEC coach to tell me how physical my football team was, that meant a whole lot to me. And then how disciplined we were as well. So, you know, all in all, man, at the end of the day, we're going to put our best product. We're trying to win a football game, Mr. Gaither, man. We trying to win a ball game. And obviously, if they see some players, and I'm sure they saw some in the garnet and blue, I'm sure they'll poke at them. At the end of the day, I'm going to do my best to keep them. Obviously, I love my players, but at the end of the day, I don't have what they have. And I'm going to do all I can to just love on them the time that I have.
Got it. Appreciate you, Coach. Thanks, and good luck this week.
Appreciate you. Thank you, man.
Our next question for Coach Barry comes from Luke Williams.
Hey, Coach.
Mr. Williams, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine, Coach. Thanks for asking. What'd you think of Lenore Sellers? You know, for those of us maybe not get a chance to see him, you know, they talk about he's all world, all American, you know, Heisman Trophy. What did you think about him? Because his numbers, I don't know if Coach Beamer was trying to limit what he did, but he only threw the ball 19 times. He only ran it 8 times. What did you think about him?
Lenore Sellers is a really good football player. He's as advertised, no question about it. You know, but I mean, I have to give kudos to my defense. I mean, to be honest, you know, my defense played lights out, to be honest. I mean, for 60 minutes. And, you know, he's still a good football player. He's got great arm talent. He's obviously a challenge to try to get him to the ground. I mean, he's 6'3", 250 pounds, man. He runs very, very fast. And he's very, very powerful. But he has a strong arm. You know, at the end of the day, our guys were in position to make plays. And I thought our guys did a good job of that pretty much for 60 minutes. So I want to give kudos to my guys. You know, he's a good player, you know, and he's going to make a lot of plays for the 2025 season. But, you know, them South Carolina State Bulldogs played some ball this past Saturday. I'm super proud of them.
Congratulations, Coach.
Thank you. Take care.
That concludes all of our media questions for Coach Barry at this time. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me. Take care. Go Dogs.
South Carolina State hosts Bethune-Cookman this Saturday, September 13th at Oliver C. Dawson Stadium in Orangeburg, South Carolina. Kickoff is set for 6 p.m., broadcasting on ESPN+. Lynn, over to you for our next interview.
Thank you so much, Elise. Let's go to Baltimore. I see Coach Damon Wilson there with the Bears. Coach, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, Lynn. How about yourself?
Doing good, man. You hosted crosstown rival Towson in the Battle of Baltimore, and the game lived up to the hype before the Tigers sneaked out a 27-22 win. Let's talk about the ball game and, in your opinion, the performance of the Bears.
Well, Lynn, we didn't do enough to win. I mean, it was first of all, our crowd showed up. First home game, and the stands were packed. It was good to see, and it was a game back and forth. But once again, we had too many turnovers. We had 3 turnovers in the red zone, which eliminated the opportunity to go ahead in the game by a couple scores. And then at the end, we took the lead with 4 minutes left, and they made a play in the last 20 seconds and won the ball game.
That's a tough pill to swallow there, Coach. And now you got to swallow it, though. You got to put that one on the side and look ahead. Coach, you're going to your second FBS opponent of the year so far. You're going to Toledo, a MEAC conference team. Let's talk about this particular ball game, your outlook in terms of this pending matchup and what the Bears plan to do moving forward.
Toledo's a real good football team. Their team just coming off a big win. Their team that finished second in the MAC last year. Very good team. I think they picked to win the MAC, if not be, up in the top part of the MAC this year. But we focus on ourselves. At the end of the day, we played 2 FBS opponents in our first, well, it'll be a second FBS opponent in our first 3 games. And at the end of the day, we were in position the first game against a good South Alabama team, had turnovers, had penalties. This past game, we corrected the penalties for the most part, but we still have turnovers. If you look at the Towson game, we outperformed them in every category except turnovers and the scoreboard, which the one that matters the most. So we're going to focus on doing the things that we need to handle to be successful and get ourselves the chance. But Toledo is probably the best ball club we've seen thus far.
Okay, Coach, that's it for me. Hold on just for a second. Elise, I see you got some hands raised here, and you'll take us through it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Lynn. As a reminder to the media, please use the raise hand feature and remain muted until you've been introduced. Also, please limit your questions to 1 for Coach Wilson. Our first question for Coach Wilson comes from James Hill.
Coach Wilson, I hope you and everybody in Bears Nation are well. Talk about Mr. Collins, 28 carries, 134 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's running downhill. This guy is a player. Talk a little bit about Collins.
A very good football player, and our offensive line has done a good job, making some lanes for him to run. Jason also had a few miscues this past week that we talked about yesterday in film, and we talked about at practice. But Jason Collins is a good deal. Good deal. He can catch the ball out of the backfield, and also he can make his way through traffic. So very fortunate to have him in the program.
Hey, good luck against Toledo this week, sir.
I appreciate you, Jane.
Our next question for Coach Wilson comes from Dr. Kenyatta Cavill.
Kenyatta Cavill, Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Coach, you may have heard some of my questions earlier about teaching and efficiency. Obviously, in the game, you were quite efficient from a third down perspective and even on fourth down, going 1 for 1. But you were not as efficient in terms of stopping the other team. They were equally what you were doing, and you see that in terms of score. You basically broke down that the difference in a lot of ways was you having more turnovers that cost you. But from a teaching perspective, as I get to the point here, is head coaching and how you work with your assistants. Talk to me a little bit about your perspective of how you work with young individuals in terms of corrective action, getting better, in terms of understanding the game. Can you take us a little bit inside the locker room or watch film from that perspective? What does that look like for you, Coach Wilson?
Indeed, and I think that's a big part of what we do. You look at first week, we had a number of penalties that we cut those in half. So we had to come up with consequences for the young folks from last week's game, the first game to the Towson game. So understanding that if you jump all sides, if you have a holding or it's an unsportsmanlike, there's consequences outside of the 5 or 10 yard deal that officials may put on you. But we have some within the program as well, and we call them Wilson reminders. And so we handle that on Sunday, and that's the way we address those deals. But now, from a teaching standpoint and turnovers, you're looking at 3 turnovers in the red zone. The first 2 games of the season, I think we have a total of 7 turnovers, and we have to emphasize ball security drill, finishing runs, make sure we cover up in traffic, not making ill-advised passes when we under pressure. So we're simulating certain drills so it could become muscle memory for these guys. But we also talking about the importance of protecting the football and doing the right things with regards to on the field.
Thank you, Coach, for sharing
Yes,
that.
sir.
Good luck. Look forward to
Yes,
it.
sir. Thank you, Doc.
Our next question for Coach Wilson comes from Donald Ware.
Morning, Coach Wilson. How you doing?
I'm good, Don. How about yourself?
Doing good. Wilson reminders. I love it. That's a good one. When you 2 tough losses, one playing against an FBS opponent, and then this has become a rivalry with the Towson game since you've been the head coach. Before it wasn't so much. What do you take away from these 2 games moving forward?
Donovan, we have a good football team, and I want these guys to be rewarded with the W's on Saturday. But all in all, it's something I continue to tell them. Everything we need is in the locker room. We have a very good football team. We do have a very tough, non-conference schedule opening up the year. But so what? We got to focus up and do the things that we take advantage of, things that we have control of. And that's something that we just continue to harp on these guys, man. Believe in yourself, go out and execute at a high level, have fun doing it, we'll live with the outcome. And, we got another very tough opponent coming up this week. Anytime you open up your season with 2 out of your first 3 FBS opponents, that's saying something, but that's something that we just signed up for. And we're going to prepare our guys to play a good game on Saturday and to head up Toledo.
Appreciate it, Coach. Good luck.
You got it.
Our next question for Coach Wilson comes from Ty Miller.
Hey, Coach Wilson.
What's going on, Ty?
I want to talk to you about Toledo. They played Kentucky tough, then they come back and sort of blow out Western Kentucky. And the guy that had a great game was that little running back, Trei. He had a first down every time he touched the ball. Will you pay special attention to him, or how do you defend a guy who's just so prolific at running like that?
Ty, they got 2 very good guys coming out the backfield, and the quarterback is not shabby at all. And they have some receivers. So they're a very good football team. I anticipate these guys to be another bowl team at the end of this year. But we're going to focus on make sure we play sound football. Our defense definitely will be challenged. But as long as everyone's doing their responsibilities and offensively we don't put them in bad positions, I think we'll have an opportunity to be competitive and win the ball game. That's what you want to do, man. You want to go out and compete. Got an opportunity to play against an FBS team. A lot of our guys think they're FBS caliber players. Go out and prove it. Go out and prove it. Just play good football and see what happens. So that's our deal for this week. And but we definitely have our hands full.
Thank you, Coach.
Yes, sir.
And then we had one question from the chat from Temple Christian. Coach, do you plan on implementing any key changes in your offense this week due to seeing so many turnovers in the first 2 games?
No, we've had over 400 yards this past, outside of turning the ball over, of course. We had over 400 yards of offense this past week. I mean, we executed at a high level, pass and run, but once again, we had the ball turned over. Can't do it, can't do it. So we're going to emphasize this week, again, ball security drills, making good decisions, and then we'll go from there.
Thank you, Coach.
Yes, ma'am.
That concludes all of our media questions at this time. Thank you for joining us and best of luck this weekend. Morgan State will travel to face Toledo on Saturday, September 13th at the Glass Bowl in Toledo, Ohio. Kickoff is set for 3:30 p.m., airing on ESPN+. This concludes the 3rd weekly MEAC Football Coaches Video Conference presented by our great partners, Wells Fargo. Before the end of the conference, we would like to thank all that assisted and participated in today's video conference. The MEAC would also like to thank its corporate partners for their continued support of the conference and its Elite 8 member institutions. As a reminder, the next video conference is next Monday, September 15th at 10 a.m. For more information on MEAC football and other sponsored sports, visit meacsports.com and follow the MEAC on social media at MEAC Sports on Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. Thank you for tuning in this week to the MEAC Football Coaches video conference, and have a great football week.